What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and whatever time it is, and welcome back to yet another video with you, man, Immersaholic. And ladies and gentlemen, after many requests from you all who have watched my videos on YouTube, now it is time for me to release my official Reshade preset for Total War Rome 2. This is specific just to Total War Rome 2, by the way. You can try to use it in other games, I do, but you will need to make adjustments. So anyway, this video will be entirely dedicated on how to install this video, any kind of typical troubleshooting issues that you might encounter, and of course any final tips and tricks to make sure you get the best looking Reshade preset possible. Plus we'll talk about any potential issues that are quite common with Reshade. It's not necessarily caused by this preset, it's just something that sometimes randomly happens. So let's jump on right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Please be sure, by the way, to check out the timestamps down below. If you're having particular issues somewhere, use that to navigate your way through the video. But anyway, here we are on the official Steam Workshop page for the mod. I've uploaded it to the Steam Workshop, however, the mod itself is not on the Steam Workshop. That means you do not need to subscribe to the mod. That's how you install quite a few typical mods for different games on Steam. For Reshade presets, you never subscribe to Steam. Right here, I'm subscribed just because I'm the uploader, but ignore that. You do not need to subscribe. Say that one more time. You do not need to subscribe to this Reshade preset. That's not how you get it. If you do subscribe, you'll just get an empty folder in your Total War Rome 2 game folder, and it will be harmless and it won't do anything. You can subscribe, but I would definitely make sure you tick it off in your mod manager. That way it's not taking up any valuable space that you have there. But what you can do instead is always give it a thumbs up, favorite it, do whatever, share it with your friends. That is other ways that you can support the mod, but you do not need to subscribe to it. So let's actually look at the mod page briefly, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty stuff. So immediately, one of the first things you'll notice is that we have a lot of before and after pictures. We have around 25 or so pictures of before and afters. These are all entirely not edited, and they show you the actual gameplay and imagery that you will see when you're in the game. The only thing I've done in these before and after pictures is turn the Reshade preset on and off, and I haven't even adjusted the brightness or gamma. That might be a little bit unfair to the vanilla look of Rome 2, but I also just wanted to give you guys a very strict before and after. I didn't want to alter the image at all. So all of these screenshots are taken with brightness at 24 and gamma at 11. Just an FYI to you all, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So we scroll down after we check out the before and afters. Now we have a large section where I'm doing a lot of talking. It's probably a bit too much, but I put in a lot of time and effort into this mod, so I'm gonna do what I want. I'm not gonna go over this in the video. If you do want a little bit of extra information on what to expect with this preset, please feel free to go through and read these two different sections here. It's entirely up to you. I would really recommend you read this first set at the very least, just so you understand what it actually is that you're getting into here. But then we move forward and we get down to the business end of things, where we have the requirements, and so we'll talk about the requirements very quickly here. Here I have listed 4 mods and then another optional mod. Now please let me emphasize, you do not need these mods to actually run this preset. The preset will work as long as you have Reshade installed. But these mods here, this Realistic Water mod, Orbis Aquarium Realistic Water, Orbis Terrarium 2 Open Beta, Rivers of Blood Gore Edition, and Enhanced Particles, these are all needed to get the same look in visuals that you'll see in my videos and in the before and after shots of this mod page. You need those mods to get the same look, especially Orbis Terrarium 2, because that adjusts the lighting and the environment of Rome 2 itself. I really cannot stress enough that you really should use this mod if your computer can handle it. It will be a little bit taxing on your system though, so if you're using a low-end PC, you might not want to. And then of course we have the optional but not required Divide into Impera mod. I play with this all the time, and even though you might not enjoy the gameplay of it for whatever reason, I know some people don't, the biggest thing DEI does is it gives new textures for over 2,000 units that they've added to Rome 2. That's pretty insane, and that's why you'll see my textures of units that I've even taken pictures of different to vanilla Rome 2. They did amazing work, and I cannot recommend that mod enough. But that's it for requirements. Obviously, you'll also need Reshade. That's linked here in the installation section, but in your requirements, they're not technically required, but they kind of are. If you're not going to use these mods that I've required here, or set as basically high recommendations, that's on you. I can't really help you with any technical issues you get when you install this preset, especially without Orbis Terrarium, because that adjusts the lighting, and without that lighting being used with this preset, things might look extremely washed out or much darker. Who knows what it could do. It should be okay, and you don't have to use it, but if you're not going to, that's a personal choice, it's on you. So next up we have the installation process itself right here. Pretty simple, only 5 basic general steps to go through, but really it's very simple and it doesn't take you long at all. So number 1, you obviously need Reshade. Reshade is a program that allows us to change the look of games like Total War Rome 2, and so you need to download and install it. So I'm going to show you guys just how to do that. Any version of Reshade should work fine. I have had multiple people test the latest version of Reshade. It worked fine for them. I actually have some technical issues with the newer Reshade, but that's an issue on my end of things. But regardless, the preset should work. I have created this preset on the 4.7 version though, so you need 4.7 or any newer version since then. But anyway, we start off by clicking on Reshade. This is a link. It will immediately take you to the Reshade website. Now here we are right here. Once the website loads for you, you'll see this as your beginning page. You click on download and it just takes you to the bottom of the page, so you can scroll down if you like. And then to actually download Reshade, you click on this little green aqua looking button here. Download Reshade 4.9.1. That is the most recent up-to-date Reshade preset. If you're watching this far off in the future, it may be different, and in fact it probably will be. But that is what you click on now. So you just click on it. It's completely safe. You won't have any issues. If your antivirus does kind of freak out a little bit, it's probably just because of Reshade itself. It's not an actual harm to your PC. You should be fine as long as you download it from the official Reshade website, of course. So, you know, use some common sense there, ladies and gentlemen. Just download it from reshade.me. That's the official website for Reshade. Then you download it, but I won't bother since I already have it installed. So that is step 1 completed. Now I'll show you guys how to actually install it. So then you go to your files wherever you downloaded the Reshade preset to. I did it just to my desktop. And here, over here, on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see that there are 2 Reshade icons. Usually you will only have one. This one right here, it says Reshade Setups 4.9.1. I have the 4.7 one because I also have an older version of Reshade, but I just downloaded this just to show you guys that it's fine to do so. This is what you get whenever you download Reshade. So now we'll double click on it to start it up. Then we have this little box here appear. You have 2 things to mess with here. All you need to do is click here to select a game and manage its Reshade installation. Click on that box only for Rome 2. So we click there, and then the program will search your PC looking for different exe files and whatnot on what you can use your Reshade on. But instead of using this, I highly recommend you click Browse. And Browse is how you manually find your Total War Rome 2. So here I've actually been messing around with Total War Empire, or Empire Total War. So we'll ignore that. And for me, it may be different for you where you actually keep Rome 2 installed. So here you can see I have 3 drives in my PC. I have my big hard drive, then I have 2 SSD drives. And the one on the right, gaming SSD, the E driver, is where I keep Rome 2 installed. Wherever you keep Rome 2 installed, that is up to you to find it. It is not that hard. If you only have one hard drive and no SSD, you should have an SSD, but if you don't, then you just click on that one drive or wherever you think your Rome 2 is installed. So I go there, and then I go to Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, and then here is the list of Steam games I have installed on this hard drive or SSD. And then I have Total War Rome 2 down the bottom. So I double click on that to open it. And then here I'll see a few listed files. Rome 2, sometimes we'll have the .exe next to it depending on your computer settings. But the main thing you're looking for is Rome 2, the icon, and the type being an application. You can see it there. It's listed on the right hand side, listed as an application. So to install Reshade, all we do is double click on the exe file of Rome 2. Then we have this little window pop up. Let me just get rid of our desktop. I'll actually open Steam so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay, so now we have that contrast of the black Steam background and Reshade. Here you will have 4 different options to choose from. For Rome 2, you always go with Direct 3D1011/12. Click on that, and then just after a few moments, you'll have something pop up. And once this window pops up, that's when you need to choose to install. For me, it just says update because I already have the Reshade install, but it should say install or uninstall for you on the right hand side. So we click on that, and then here we have a big list of different packages. Basically, all of these packages contain little effects files that you can basically add to your game. So what you need for this preset to work appropriately is standard effects, because that's not optional, you have to install it. Sweet effects by CJ.dk, and then Quint by Marty McFly. So you just click on that, and that's the only 3 different packages that you need to have checked for this installation. If you like, you can tick them all or tick specific other ones and play around with those Reshade settings. That's entirely up to you. But for this preset, this is all you need right here, okay? And you don't even need standard effects, by the way. We don't use any of those in this preset, but it's a non-optional install. So that's what we have to do. And also, this list may look different depending on whatever version of Reshade you're trying to install. So keep that in mind, but the name should be the same. Sweet Effects by CJ and Quint by Marty McFly. I cannot stress enough, you need those 2 packages at the very least to get this preset working. But then once we select what we want, we just click OK. Then here it is downloading the files. We have a window pop up that shows all of the little effects that each package installs. So for Sweet Effects, this is all of the different effects that it will install. I recommend you just leave them all ticked, because when you install the preset, it will automatically change it for you. So just leave them as they are. But the majority of effects that we use do come from here. So just press OK. Then we have the Quint package open up, where it lets us choose what effects we want from it. Same kind of deal here, although here we only use the Quint DoF effects file. But I would still just leave them all checked, just because it's easier and you don't have to mess anything up. And if you do try to uncheck and check certain things, and you uncheck something that this preset uses, that's when you're going to have issues. So just leave them as they are. Press OK. Reshape setup was successful. Round of applause, you did it. You now have Reshade in your Rome 2 folder. So that now means once you start up Rome 2, you will see Reshade being installed on your PC. You should have a box appear in the top left corner of your screen, and then that's where it will show you how to get started and give you a little Reshade tutorial. But for the purposes of this installation, we are not done yet, because we need the preset. This is where you'll get the actual preset that I personally created for Reshade. So this will adjust your Reshade program to basically conform to how I've altered it to look. So all we do here is we do download my preset from. You can just click on that. It'll take you to the Google Drive. I'll open it very quickly, and it will take you right here to Immersaholic's Reshade.ini. It's hosted on a Google Drive. It is not even zipped up, so you don't even need 7-zip or WinRAR or anything like that. You just press download it wherever you like. I usually just download it to my desktop. You can see I already have a couple of Immersaholic's Reshade presets here, just because I've been testing it out. So we save, I already have one there. That's fine, I can replace it, no worries. And now once it's done downloading, we need to open wherever we have it saved. So we'll keep that here on the right hand side of the screen, because now we need to move Immersaholic's Reshade, which is just a configuration setting file, into your Rome 2 folder. So how do we get there? We go Steam, we go to the game library, right click on Rome 2, wherever it is in your Steam library, go to Properties, go to Local Files, Browse, and then that is it. Here we have your Rome 2 folder section. So basically everything in this folder and then inside the further folders is a part of your Rome 2 game itself. So then we have the desktop on the left hand side here, and now all we need to do is copy. So you can right click or whatever, copy, paste, and that's it. You now have Immersaholic's Reshade in your Total War Rome 2 game. That's it. It's insanely simple, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you already know how to install Reshade presets. Very, very smooth process. It's pretty hard to mess up, and overall, you really shouldn't be having too many issues with installing it. But if you're completely new to Reshade presets or just modding in general, that's okay. Feel free to comment down below or on my Steam Workshop page if you're having technical issues. I do understand that if you're new to this, it can be a little bit daunting, but don't worry, your man Immersaholic is here for you. But that is not where we're going to end the video, because now I want to show you guys what to do in the game itself. So now all we're going to do is going to get out of that, and we're going to start up our Rome 2 game, and I will show you guys how to actually turn on the reshade in your game itself. So I'll see you guys once we load in. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the main menu for Total War Rome 2 with Divided Impera installed, of course, but it doesn't matter if you don't want to use DEI. You should still be seeing a similar screen where you just have the main menu. Now in the top left corner of the screen though, you will see a bunch of writing. Don't worry about those errors, that's okay. You might get that, you might not, just depends on your installation. It's not a big issue. But the main thing is that Reshade is now installed successfully. Press home to start the tutorial. So we press the home key on our keyboard. Boom. Reshade pops up right here. It's up to you if you want to go through this tutorial. I don't really need to, so I'm just going to skip it. And now we have all of these different effects listed. None of them are turned on though. To turn them on, they need to be ticked like that. But we don't want to do that individually. Right now what we want to do is turn on my Reshade preset. So to do that, we go to the default preset up here. We left click on it just to get the drop down menu up here. And here is where we have Immersaholic's Reshade located. I have two here just because I have one already on my computer and one that I had to download. Doesn't matter which one I choose here, as you will only have one anyway when you download it. So I'm going to click on it, boom, and then all of a sudden the entire preset kicks in. And now as you scroll up and down, you will see that we have a bunch of different effects ticked. That means that they have started. Don't worry about this being failed to compile. It doesn't matter because we're not using it anyway. Right now, that's it. You can press the home button to escape, and that is it. You now have Immersaholic's Reshade preset working. It's running. That's it. You don't need to do anything else to get the preset running. However, to configure it appropriately, we do have a couple extra things that we can do. Now, before we do keep going though, I do just want to show you guys a couple of things about Reshade itself. First off, go to your settings, and then at the top of the screen here, we have the overlay key. This is how you start up Reshade, as in like open this entire window menu here. It's up to you if you want to do it with the home key or any other key. I just keep it as a default. But then underneath that, you have the effect toggle key. This means that you can turn your Reshade preset off or on literally just by pressing one button. For me, I have it set to numpad plus, but you can change it to whatever you like. That's just a couple big things that you might want to know about going into it. And then we go to DX11 over here on the far right hand side of the window, and then we need to make sure that copy depth buffer before clear operations is ticked on. That has to be on in order for the depth of field to work, and then you click on that. And then if you're at the main menu, you should just have this one extra line underneath it where it says 20 draw cells, a bunch of other stuff. But the main thing you're looking for here is it listed as 1920 by 1080p or whatever resolution you're playing the game in. If you're in a battle especially, you see like 4 or 5 different lines here. Look for the one that has your resolution listed right here. Then you make sure you tick that as well, and then that will make sure that your depth of field is working. If you don't have it turned on, it will not work, and that's where it can be very frustrating, because it's a very weird issue and it only happens randomly sometimes. You don't always get this issue where this is ticked off, but I seem to be getting it most of the time when I install it. So make sure that is ticked 100%. Now though, we go back to the home screen, everything else is turned on, it looks all good. These are all of the effects that we want. You can click on each effect and then scroll down here at the bottom of the screen where my mouse is right now. You can adjust them to your own liking if you wish. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really having issues with something. For example, if the darkness of the game is too strong, you might want to adjust the levels.effects right here. So you click on that and then adjust it. Or if your game is way too sharp, you will want to go to Luma Sharpen and then change the sharpening strength of it right here. If you like, all you need to do is drag it left and right wherever you like. It doesn't matter. It's entirely up to personal preference on what you need to adjust and what you don't need to. But then the last couple of things we need to talk about very quickly, we're almost done, is brightness and gamma. I have my brightness and gamma at 11 brightness and 24 gamma. You need to adjust it depending on your personal preference and of course your monitor settings. This is just what I use. It is not required. it's basically entirely on you and your hardware. But do make sure that you may need to adjust your brightness and gamma to make sure the preset isn't too dark or too washed out. Anyway, then we also need to go to your graphics settings. We go to the advanced options. Here, this is the graphics settings I am using with Rome 2. You do not have to copy every single graphic here, but I highly recommend you try to use at least the anti-aliasing at 8 times, the texture quality as high as you can go, texture filtering as high as you can go as well, and then the shader model at 5. The main reason for this is that if you have these settings, especially anti-aliasing, at a lower setting, using my preset will make the game extremely sharp and quite probably way too sharp for your own visual pleasure. You may not like it at all. So that's just a personal preference, so sharpening is always based on the person and what they like. I like to have some sharpening, but I also like to have a smooth cinematic experience, so that's why I have a strong depth of field working in this. But anyway, I've included a screenshot of my graphics settings in the Steam Workshop page of this mod, so do go there and check this out if you just want to double check that you have everything the same way that I do. I am, of course, using a GTX 1070, pretty powerful GPU, not the best nowadays, but it's still very strong, and so I can use all of these graphics settings and still be pretty comfortable with my FPS in the game. But this right here is what will mess up your FPS, changing the graphics settings of the game. Installing Reshade should not affect your FPS pretty much at all. It depends how many effects you have and how strong they are, but this preset in particular, it should not affect your FPS at all, really, unless you're on a very low tier PC with a very bad GPU, but even then, it should only be minor. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's about it for the installation process. If you do have issues with it, please do feel free to reach out to me, comment on my YouTube video or on the Steam Workshop page itself. There are a bunch of frequently asked questions that I've already answered in the description on, so please do make sure you go through them before you ask a question, as I do answer a bunch of commonly asked questions. For example, a lot of people ask me, why is the edge of the screen blurry? That's because it's an effect called depth of field. Depth of field adds a cinematic experience and style and allows the viewer to basically focus on certain things while blurring out either things that aren't important for the scene that you're watching, or in this case, to blur out bad textures that occur when you're looking at the game from a distance. For example, terrain like hills and stuff may look very jagged and ugly unless you're fairly up close to them and have the textures fully rendered in. I won't go through the entire FAQ, but please do make sure you go check that out to get yourself some support. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this installation video. If you would like to see a video specifically just showcasing the Reshade preset, I might be willing to look into that, so please let me know down below. But like I said, there is a bunch of before and after pictures, and all of my videos since my Spartan campaign have been using this very preset, so highly recommend you go check out any of my videos, really, if you do want to see the preset in action. And anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we'll end it today, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one.